everyone, it's Chris the Batman Statue Collector, your Dark Knight of Collecting, and I'm back with another statue chat. And this one was inspired by a post in the Facebook groups, and I was really impressed with it because it was kind of an inspiration to us all in a lot of ways. And it's basically some tips that collectors should constantly remember. Now, I've done tips and tricks videos before of, for new collectors and things, so you can check out those. I might do an updated one of those as well, and this is kind of what this is today. But basically, I have a list here that they posted, and I wanted to go over each point because I thought they were all valid for collectors just like you. Whether you're new or whether you've been a veteran collector, there's still good things to help remind you, okay? So, the first one is you don't need everything from a wave or a line. I myself have a really hard time with that particular concept because you guys know that I collect Batman. I collect Batman and his rogues. That's what I love to do, and I'm currently doing that right as we speak. But at the same time, there is a large line of characters. And just because there is a line doesn't mean that you have to have every single one. You may want every single one, but at the same time, you have to consider space. You also have to consider your money. How much money you have coming in that's disposable income. You don't want to be buying these things that are going to cost you, your house payment or your water bill or things like that. This has to be disposable income. I, again, like to collect most of a line if I can, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I have to. If I really like the Arkham line, I'm going to pick out maybe one or two of the ones that I like the best, and I would be happy with that. I mean, I have the space, I have the funds to do it, so that's why I have so many Arkham pieces over here. But again, if you don't have the means to be able to collect a whole line, don't feel like you have to. One piece could definitely represent a character. Now, I am somebody that has multiple Batmans or multiple Jokers. A lot of people that collect, they say, okay, I'm only going to collect one quintessential Batman. I'm going to have one Joker. I'm going to have one X-Men character. I'm going to have one Spider-Man or whatever. And that's fine too. Me being the Batman statue collector, I collect Batman stuff, Batman items. And I'm fine with that. But again, every collector is different. Every collector is going to have a different motivation to what they want to collect. But again, I don't feel like you have to have the entire line. I am somebody that does, like I said, I do like to complete things. But again, you have to be financially responsible in order to do that. Okay? If you collect X-Men, let's say, and you love Wolverine, he's your favorite character, and that's all that you can afford, get that Wolverine piece. That's okay. Have that. Have that represent your X-Men love. If you can get a couple more pieces, then get your next two that are your favorite. But also, I feel like sometimes collectors will buy ones that they don't really want just because it's part of that line. Whenever I think of my Arkham line, there's not one that I don't love. There's not one up there that I don't want. There might be some that I don't love as much, like maybe my Bane that I have. I don't love that one as much. But at the same time, I love them all. I love them. I love the way they look. I love what they represent. But sometimes if they had a dud, like let's say that Mr. Freeze sucked and I hated it, would I feel compelled to add it to the collection? Maybe, but I probably wouldn't get it because I don't love the way it looks. Yes, he wouldn't be represented in the line or in my display, but that's okay. That's okay. You have to love the character. Love the character and love the way the statue looks. Don't just buy it to buy it. Unless, again, you have tons of disposable income and just want it, then by all means, go for it. But anyway, that is my advice for number one. Again, you don't need everything in a line or a wave. Okay? Let's move on to number two. You don't need it just because it's popular and everybody else wants it. Man, I have been victim to this as well. Popularity of a character, popularity of a sculpt, popularity of a throne. These are things that I've seen over the years as a collector. Thanos on Throne comes to mind. Came out, everybody had to have it. It's an amazing statue. I still love it. Saw a lot being sold afterward. It's still a great piece, and I'm really glad that collectors have that in their collection, but it is something that sometimes it just is this popular wave that everybody says, oh my God, you have to get this, you have to get this. And I think times have changed a little bit in the last couple of years of how people order things. We'll get to that here in just a minute. But I don't feel like you have to order it just because everybody else is. Yes, sometimes I could see where that adds to a little bit of excitement of getting the piece. And, you know, pre-ordering and getting the pieces sometimes are just as exciting as actually getting it in hand. But if you don't love it, if it's not something that you're really, really interested in, don't fall for it. You don't have to order it just because everybody else is. This is not a competition in collecting. This is a personal taste in art of what you love, what your passion is. You know, some people do just buy everything. They buy everything no matter what because it's popular. And a lot of times people will buy it to make a buck or at least to try to resell it. The resale market is pretty awful right now. So I don't recommend anyone do that. I don't recommend that you go that route because it's probably going to bite you. But I do feel that ordering something just because it's popular is a risk because you're probably going to sell it. You're probably not going to love it. You're probably not going to get it in hand and say, oh, I'm going to keep this forever. Yeah, you might enjoy it for a little while, but chances are you're probably not. So don't buy just because it's popular and everybody else is. Buy what you want. Buy what you are excited about. Okay? All right, so that's number 2. Let's look at number 3 here. Number 3 is you don't need to be the first person that owns it. Well, that is also true, and that kind of goes along with just the one we just talked about. Now, as a statue reviewer, we've talked about it with other reviewers, there is a pressure to review things quickly, to get the first review out there, because you want those views. I'm somebody that wants you to watch as well. So there are collectors like myself that will buy things because they want to review it first. I've been lucky that I stick to my guns pretty much with what I order. It's stuff that's going to pretty much end up in my collection. Now there are some times where there's a piece that I order or have pre-ordered because I get really excited about it, and then after a year I've kind of cooled off on it, but I still get it anyway because I want to review it. I want to see it in person with the idea that I probably will sell it down the road. I don't love doing that because there's a lot of hassle with the shipping and selling it and everything else and the risk of breaking. So I don't like that. But I don't feel like you have to be the first to get anything, especially if you're in the United States. I mean, everything comes out in China first. So they get theirs a month or two ahead of everybody. So if you were in America, in the US, you're not going to get it first anyway. So who cares? As long as you get it, be patient. Be patient. It's going to be worth the wait to get the item if you're really interested in it, but it's not a necessity to get it first, in my opinion. At least that's what I feel. Number 4, you don't need to overpay for something that is new or hot. You'll eventually find it for cheaper. I'm going to give it a shout out to Thor Gunnarsson over at DCX, Darth Castle. He is the guru. He is the one that taught me to be patient. I used to be somebody that would pre-order everything day one. I still do that sometimes. If it's a figure or a statue that I am really, really pumped about, I am going to go ahead and go ballistic, and I am going to hit that pre-order button. I do not care. Because I'm just excited about it. It's part of the excitement of collecting is that hit that pre-order button knowing that you're going to get the statue, whether it's a year from now or 6 months or whatever it's going to be. Now, with that said, there are people that will also pre-order because they're worried about it selling out. And there are from time to time sellouts, and sometimes surprising sellouts. So you have to be aware of the demand. You have to be aware of that excitement level in the community, knowing whether you should go ahead and pre-order something. Something I should have pre-ordered was Batman Sanity. I didn't. I'm on wait list right now. Will I actually get it? I don't know. But I messed up because I should have went ahead. At the time I didn't have room for it. I should have still at the same time felt, okay, I really want it. I think it's still going to be available, but no, it's not. So there are pieces like that from time to time, but if the edition size is massive, and a lot of times edition sizes are not announced right away. So some people wait for the edition size and then they pre-order. Some people wait even longer. Again, if you're new to collecting, the edition size is how many they make, whether it's an exclusive or a regular. So some people wait to say, okay, well, only 500 are going to be made worldwide. That's a good ES. That's one you're going to definitely want to pick up and maybe do it quickly, because it's going to be hard to find. If it's something that you want to sell down the road, you're probably going to make your money back, if not more. So it's worth it. But I have learned from Thor to be patient. You don't have to pre-order everything day one. A lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, 6 months, 12 months down the road on eBay or in the buy-sell trade groups like Batman Statue Collector Buy-Sell Trade, you're going to be able to find some people selling things for cheaper, because right now the resale market is not great. So you're going to take $100 off, $200 off of the retail cost. And sometimes people are going to be selling those statues while they're still available at Sideshow or XM or Prime One, and you're still able to get a fairly decent deal on it. So it is, if you're willing to wait, if it's not something that you have to have in your collection the day it's shipped, then be patient. Search those message boards, search those Facebook groups, search those eBay listings. eBay generally is, your prices are a lot of times going to be jacked up because the sellers have to pay a giant PayPal fee and eBay fee. So sometimes it's harder to get them on eBay, but a lot of times if you look on the buy-sell trade groups, and I recommend them all, you can find really good deals on there. And so I recommend that you do that. It's worth your while, it's worth your wait, be patient. But again, if you want to order day one, then by all means do it. It's worth it if you're excited, if it adds to the experience and you know that you're going to want that. But like I mentioned just a minute ago, sometimes I have cooled off with what I want to pre-order. I see a statue, I'm really excited about it, I love the sculpt, and I pre-order it, and then maybe a month or two later something else shows up and I like that even more. I'm like, oh, I wish I would have spent my $1,000 on that statue instead of the one I pre-ordered. And so I've fallen victim to that same trap. I know it. I know that sometimes you just lose interest in whatever the statue might be. Now, you might be out there and be like, oh, by God, Chris, every time I pre-order something, I'm excited about it from day one to the day I get it, and blah, blah. That's fine. That's fine. Good for you. But I'm just speaking for personal experience. This is what I experience. I get hot and cold about statues. I get them in my collection and I get tired of them. I want something different. I want something new. I view my gallery, this is my gallery in my Batcave. I view it as a traveling gallery. It is something that is, you don't go to the Louvre or any other museum and the paintings are exactly the same for 100 years. They switch them out. They rotate them around to create interest. I do the same thing. Now, some pieces, they don't change. These right here. Those probably over there, my Arkham line probably won't change. But my comic pieces, they might come in and out. Some of the busts I'm collecting might go in and out. I don't know. But again, I feel like that is okay. And that is what makes me happy as a collector. So what makes you happy as a collector might be completely different. If you want to order day one, go for it. If you want to wait and be patient, you're probably going to get a good deal. And so I definitely recommend doing that if you are able to be patient, because I know some of you might have a really hard time with that. Number 5, appreciate what you have in your collection. You don't need to constantly buy new things to be happy. Well, that kind of contradicts what I just said a little bit. You don't need to constantly buy new things, but I think a lot of times in this hobby there is that desire to want to get new things, to want to see what's out there. It's, you can appreciate what you have, and I've had, some of my pieces in here for like since 2011, I think. So it's been a long time that I've had some of the same pieces. I've appreciated a lot of those, but the ones that I don't love, I'm gonna change out with something new. So I can see both sides of this argument. I think that there's a fine line with being able to appreciate what you have, but then at the same time be excited about something new. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. So that's just my opinion on that one. Number 6, is there such a thing as having too much stuff? In my opinion, yes. Number 7 is kind of along the same lines. There's a very fine line between collecting and hoarding. I have seen some collections that I feel like are just way too junky. I feel like it's way too much stuff in one small space. You might like that as a collector, but I don't like that. I don't like that massive cluttered look. I just think it looks not great. I think that sometimes if you have less pieces, it speaks more of the art. You're able to focus on the art instead of being so overwhelmed with mind candy of everything that's going on around you. I just feel like sometimes it could just look kind of gaudy, in my opinion. Again, I'm not trying to throw any collectors under the bus with that, but I just feel like sometimes it just doesn't look great. I personally like some space between my statues. I know it's hard with space issues. It's hard to do that. I'm going to start cramming them in this case here when I get a few more in. But I just feel like it just gets to be overkill sometimes. So that is just, again, my personal preference. I feel like sometimes it does kind of look like hoarding a little bit, where it's just like, oh my God, there's just so much stuff in here. I just don't think it looks good. But again, that's just my opinion. So anyway, these were just some tips that this collector posted. I really liked them. And so I just want to share them with you today. I thought it would be an interesting topic to talk to you about. I will again come back with another new video of tips and tricks for collectors that are new and old. But I just thought this would be a good conversation today. So thank you for listening today. I would love to know your thoughts down below. Please like this video if you haven't done so already. Please subscribe if you're new here, and please hit that notification bell if you want to be notified every time I put new content out there. Again, thank you guys just so very much for watching. Thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. I love you guys, as you know. I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. As always, thank you so much. Like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you in the Bat Cave. Bye, everybody.